Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Monday night in Azeroth, and we've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be going over all of the World of Warcraft Midnight information that was revealed at Gamescom, or at least most of it, and we're going to be breaking down some of the different components and doing a little bit of analysis, early analysis, mind you, of some of the changes that are coming in World of Warcraft Midnight, some of the new systems, some of the existing system changes, the new raids, the new dungeons, all of that. So hopefully it's an entertaining show. We also have some news about classic adjacent news. We're going to talk a little bit about Legion Remix, although I want to save that for next week when Blizzard has another round of testing on the PTR. And I think that was it. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And before I get going with the news, I did want to do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in World of Warcraft, because I did finally get back into WoW. Yay! I was on vacation a couple weeks ago and didn't really do a whole lot of WoW, especially at the beginning of Season 3, which was kind of a bummer. But, so I've gotten back in. I'm taking it slow. Just doing some delves and getting some things going. So I've decided I'm going to go Death Knight and Paladin this season. They're both tanks, and they are both, I wouldn't say they're well geared. They're okay. I'm working on it. I think my Paladin is 670 and my Death Knight is 680. So I got a little bit of work to put in there, but I haven't been doing any dungeons. I did do the story mode on them, finish the campaign up, which is honestly, that's pretty good. And doing Dimensius on story mode, I was like, okay, I see why people are having trouble with this, because if you don't understand the fight, it's going to be difficult, and things don't really hurt on story mode, and it's difficult. So I see the problem that we're facing here as a people. So the Dimensius fight is fun. I like it. I really like the story going up into the fights. And I just started the follow-up story where you have to help out Venari, and now we've got to go into the dungeon and kill Soul Scribe. Spoiler alert if you haven't done the story yet. But it's been out for a few weeks, so I think at this point you should have already done it. I'm just saying, I'm not judging you. I'm just should have done it. So that's pretty much where I am. Like, I'm still dealing with the ramifications of daring to go on vacation. I had to work on the garage a little bit today, which was a challenge. That was so the weather here in Ohio is such that during the summer you don't really want to do a whole lot of outdoor work, especially outdoor work in a confined space like a garage. So I needed to clean out the garage. I did a little bit of it in the spring, but I didn't finish. And then over the course of the summer, things just get dumped in there because nobody wants to put anything where it goes because it's too hot and humid in there. So things were just piling up. We got some shelves that were just sitting there, an old chair, boxes, leaves blow in under the door. And so it gets messy in there. It's just, so this was the first nice weekend that we've had in quite a few months. So, I spent a good majority of time out there in the garage cleaning up. Ideally, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to use the garage as a place to do videos and things, especially stuff when I want to get maybe a little bit louder and not have to be quite as subdued as I am in the house when I don't want to disturb all of the occupants. When we first moved into our house, the basement, I eyeballed the basement. I was like, oh, that's where I'm going to do the podcast. Well, after I started the podcast, I was like, oh, that's where I'm going to do the podcast, in the basement. It never worked out. I did a few episodes there and I couldn't get a permanent setup. And then one of our twins moved back home and occupied the space in the basement that I was going to do the podcast. And she just moved out a couple weeks ago. And at this point, I've pretty much given up. So, and my wife has turned the entire thing into her sewing room. So I guess I lost the basement. So the garage it is. That's what we're looking at. So anyway, the point is, I did play some WoW, but maybe not as much as I wanted to. So, and that's fine. And I did spend a lot of time going over all of the details for Midnight. I will say I was going to save this for the actual segment, but I'm just going to say it here. The Gamescom reveal for Midnight and all of the information that's come out, dreadful. Just absolutely dreadful. Blizzard, please. I know that you can't always do a BlizzCon, and I get that. But I would rather have had a BlizzCon line or just a straight up announcement video than what we got from Gamescom. That was awful. WoW players would have had more hype from just an announcement YouTube video than we got for this game, because everyone was excited and it was like, okay, well, we're sitting around, and then there was these panels that were at weird times, and now there's no VOD, so you can't go back and watch it. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like it was not really ideal, but yeah, there you go. And yeah, so that's about it. So anyway, long story short, I've been going through all the Midnight info, and we'll go over that. And that's about it. So yeah, all right. I'm just, it was annoying trying to go through, and now I've got to go through Wowhead articles and try and find, well, where was that quote? It's from that one interview that we don't have a video for, but somebody wrote it down. And anyway, all right, let's move on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so we're just going to get right into the big news from, what was it, a day or two ago? Blizzard is suing Turtle WoW. And I have mentioned Turtle WoW. I don't really cover private servers. Turtle WoW is a WoW private server. It's run from apparently a group of people from all over the world, although it sounds like the main person behind everything is in Russia. The servers, according to their website, are in Kazakhstan, but that is also a little suspicious based on the lawsuit. So anyway, so Turtle WoW is a private server that has a Classic Plus type experience. So they took the level 1 to 60 of vanilla WoW, and then they just kept adding content to that instead of going on to the Burning Crusade. So they added new races, new class. Did they add a new class? I can't remember if they added a new class. New raids, new dungeons, new zones, and they keep adding new things to the WoW client. They've pretty much rewritten a good chunk of the WoW client. So it's not even the original WoW client anymore, because it's got a bunch of new information in it. New maps, new textures, all sorts of things. It's illegal. You can't do that. Blizzard owns the copyright for World of Warcraft, and they own the right to charge people for World of Warcraft for playing it. And so a private server that does not give their money to Blizzard, that's illegal. In addition, the Turtle WoW owners have been asking players for donations, and those are kind of a way to get, I don't know exactly what they're getting for it, but the Turtle WoW people are making money, and Blizzard in the lawsuit is estimating that they have made somewhere in the millions of dollars of profit. Which, on the one hand, it's like, oh my gosh, how terrible that they're stealing money from Blizzard. On the other hand, it's like, people are willing to pay millions of dollars for Classic Plus. Blizzard, what are you doing? I'm just saying. I'm not a big fan of private servers. I did play on Nostalrius. Yes, I did. I did back in 2016 or whatever it was, 2015. I did. I got to about level 20, and then I was like, nah, this isn't for me. But, it's fine. I get it. People are going to do whatever they're going to do, but it is illegal, and you can't do that. So Blizzard is suing the owners of it, the developers, or whatever you want to call these people, calling them out by name in the different locations. Now, all of this is guesswork, because these people have not made themselves available. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of different shell companies that are set up to kind of protect the people who actually do this. And so one way or another, it's going to get shut down. I don't know what that's going to look like. It might change. They might move the servers to a different country. I don't know. But because Microsoft is backing up Blizzard, and Microsoft operates in every single country in the world. So, yeah, there are countries that don't need to follow U.S. copyright laws and trademark laws. That's true. They don't care. But if you're doing business with Microsoft and Microsoft is coming after you, it's going to be a problem. So I'm curious to see how this turns out. This is just a lawsuit. This isn't there's nothing else besides just Blizzard's filings. They are going after these people for a RICO case, which is basically what they use for organized crime. And I mean, I guess by definition, it's organized and they are committing a crime. So I guess you could call it organized crime. So that's where it is. Turtle WoW being sued by Blizzard. Now, the last time Blizzard sent a cease and desist to a major private server was Nostalrius, and that was 2016. 3 years later, we got Classic. So is Blizzard doing the same thing here? Is this a soft confirmation of Classic Plus? I hope so. I really do. I'm really anxious to get Classic Plus going. I'm hoping that they're working on it right now, and then this is just part of got to clean the tables so that you can set it properly. But regardless, we will update this story because, like I said, I don't want to cover private servers, but since this is a lawsuit, I will cover the lawsuit. So if there's any updates for this, I will be reporting on them here. I do feel like this is a big deal for Classic players. Speaking of Classic, I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago that the Miss Pandaria Classic population had been having some number issues. Basically, the population, the rating and arena population for Miss Pandaria Classic is much lower than any other expansion in the Classic era. So this is the fourth one. We have Burning Crusade, Wrath, Cataclysm, and Miss Pandaria now. By week 4, Miss Pandaria is at 192,000 people or characters who are participating in endgame content. That's not necessarily 192,000 accounts that are paying for World of Warcraft. That's just the number of individual characters who are participating in some form of endgame activity, be it raids or arenas. To give you a comparison, Cataclysm at week 4 was at 316,000. Burning Crusade at week 4 was at 285,000. And Wrath, of course, the big behemoth, 606,000. So Miss Pandaria at 192 is a little low. Now, before you start saying, oh, that's it, Classic is over, that's still a lot of money when you break down how much development time is going into Classic. Now, obviously, Blizzard is putting a lot more development into Miss Pandaria than they did into, say, Burning Crusade or Wrath. I'm not sure. With Wrath, but I know that by Cataclysm they had already created the development team that was dedicated to Classic, and there was a lot more. I think at that point they realized, well, if we're going to do this, we need to do it correctly instead of just relying on, people's people's nostalgia for Burning Crusade and Wrath. You're not going to get that for Cataclysm and Miss Pandaria, not in the same way. So you need to actually make the game a little bit better and entice people to play. So if that's the case, then yeah, this is unfortunate. 192,000 is still a lot of money for subscriptions, assuming that the people who are these numbers, if we assumed 192,000 was just the total number of accounts that are playing Classic, if we just assume that, because not everybody who's playing Classic is included in this number, because some people don't do end game content. Maybe they just do dungeons. Maybe they just farm. Maybe they just want to go around and do all the quests. They're trying to get reputation, whatever it is. So if we just said, okay, 192,000 accounts are playing Miss Pandaria Classic, and if we calculated that out, $15 a month, you're going to get about $2 million. I can actually run the numbers right here. Let's see.
4 hours later.
So if you take that number, 192,000, and you multiply it by $15 a month, you get 2,880,000 approximately. I mean, it's, give or take. And if you average that out over a year, that's $34 million, $34.5 million. That's not chump change. And if I told you, hey, you need to hire a team of 12 people to do something, and you need to pay X amount of dollars to host this, but you're going to make $35 million annually for it, you'd try and make it work. And that's really what's going to happen here is that Blizzard is going to try to make this work. Are these numbers going to go down for Warlords of Draenor? Yes, they are. Will they come back up for Legion? Probably. Probably. A lot of YouTubers who are really big on, oh, Legion is a guarantee, it's going to happen. That tune is starting to change. People are starting to become less confident that Legion is actually going to show up, especially because we got Legion Remix and Blizzard has already caused some issues with that, which we'll get into here in a minute. So yeah, there's some questions about whether or not we're even going to continue past this. There was the survey a few weeks ago that asked the question, would you transfer your Miss Pandaria Classic characters to retail? So they're obviously thinking about that. That's something that they are considering. So more to come on this, I guess really is what it boils down to. I personally think that it's a great idea to continue with Classic on through Legion. Beyond Legion, I don't know. I don't necessarily know that I want to see Classic go into Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, but I definitely think Legion would be a fun one. And maybe that's partly because, selfishly, I didn't really get to do a whole lot in Legion. And so I'd like to be able to sit and really just grind out my Legion rep and my artifact weapons and all that stuff. There were definitely flaws with Legion. And let's not forget, in order to get to Legion, we still have to get through WoD. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to keep an eye on these numbers, but it's definitely interesting to see how much it's dipped at this point. Now, you could also make the argument and say, well, hey, the Heart of Fear just came out and they still don't even have Terrace of Endless Springs. That's true. But again, this is any character who's participating in endgame activity. So we're not talking about, oh, there's no raids yet, so the numbers are low. People are already doing the raids. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. All right, let's move on to, let's talk about this Legion Remix. I keep wanting to calling it Region Lemix, and I don't know why. And I saw somebody call it Lemix the other day, and I was like, no, please don't. Okay, here's what we know. Legion Remix is scheduled to come in with patch 11.2.5. That has already been stated by Blizzard. So it's likely that we're about a month away from Remix, which is pretty wild. Blizzard did 2 weeks of PTR testing, and the results from the community were overwhelmingly negative. Yes, there were a lot of positives because it's Legion and people really like that content, but there were a lot of negatives: the time gating, the gearing, the stats, So here's the deal. The content phases are going to be time gated in a manner similar to Classics. You get phase 1, Emerald Nightmare, phase 2, the Nighthold, phase 3, Tomb of Sargeras, and so on. Then there's a 5th phase, which is, I guess, just the wrap up everything phase. I guess it's scheduled to take about 8 to 10 weeks. The tertiary stats were RNG'd. Now, that was one of the big things in MoP Remix that was really fun, is that you could build a speed set. And the other tertiary stats aren't as big of a deal, but having that speed set was really cool. You could also get versatility in MoP Remix that you can't get in Legion. And then there was the way that you upgrade your main stats. There were diminishing returns on that. So the higher you go, the harder it is to get your stats increased. So this isn't sounding like a fun system. This is sounding like an RNG nightmare, which Legion already was. So what are we doing, Blizzard? There was a post on the forums. Linksy posted, "Greetings, testers. A big thanks to everyone who has taken the time to try out Legion Remix on the PTR. Based on your feedback, starting next week," that's tomorrow, as I'm recording this, "we will be extending our PTR test for an additional week and deploying major improvements with the goal of adding speed, power, and fun to the mode. More details to come soon. The Legion Remix PTR events will end with today's build in order to test our character conversion process, but will return next Tuesday for the additional week of testing. If you don't want your character to be converted, please do not attempt to log into your time runner while Legion Remix is down." So there you go. They're trying to fix it because I think they realized, oh shoot, this wasn't the response we were hoping for. Legion is supposed to be a slam dunk. It's supposed to be easy peasy. You just boom, you're done. Here it is. Boom, there it is. But it was not. So yeah, that's really unfortunate that's how that's going. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll have some information to talk about next week. And I'm still going to do a full episode. I'd like to. Well, I guess we'll see. I'd like to do a full episode discussing the whole remix game mode and kind of how this might work going forward. What other expansions might be good candidates for this, or maybe we could even combine some and different things that we could do. I really like the remix mode, but I think Blizzard needs to kind of nail in exactly how they want it to go. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to this week in World of Warcraft. All right, this is the War Within Season 3 week. Who cares? Because honestly, this is the end of the expansion. We're going to ride this out. We're going to get Legion Remix in a couple weeks. And then a couple months after that, we're going to get player housing. So in all honesty, if you're still worrying about the affixes week in and week out, I don't know what to tell you. I probably should have stopped doing that months ago, but I didn't. Once you start doing something, it's kind of... it becomes a habit. So anyway, we're going to forego the affix discussion from here on out because it's really not relevant to anything. There's one affix, the others change. They just flip flop. It's not really a big deal. So if you want a website where you can go check that out, go to mythicpl.us. That's where I go to see the affix information. But honestly, just go do your dungeons. It's fine. All right. Let's talk about what's going on in the game. So we've got the bonus events. This week is Cataclysm Time Walking. And I don't think we've had this one for a minute. So you're going to get the Sign of the Destroyer buff. Cataclysm reputation gains from combat and quest increased by 30%. No, by 50%. Increased by 50%. Your Time Walking dungeons are the Stone Core, Lost City of the Tol'vir, the Vortex Pinnacle, Throne of the Tides, End Time, and Blackrock Caverns. Your Time Walking raid is Firelands. And you're going to pick up there's two quests to get. One is a Shattered Path Through Time from Archivist for Thrune in Dornogal. So that's to defeat 5 Time Walking dungeons or 5 Time Walking raid bosses. And then you will get a champion piece of gear from the Manaforge Omega raid. The other quest is Disturbance Detected Firelands. And then you can pick that up from Vormu in either Orgrimmar or Stormwind. You need to defeat Ragnaros, and you need to loot the time-locked Cinder from him, and then you will be rewarded with a cache of Time Warp treasures, which will give you a heroic piece of Cataclysm-era raid gear. It could be anything from any of the raids, and you could also get the mount from it, which is really cool. I've always kind of enjoyed the time-walking raids, but Firelands stinks. I mean, I like Firelands as a raid. I think it's a great raid, but that's a raid that you need to be in a coordinated group for. That is not a good, hey, let's just kind of, bebop over here and do the raid. No, especially the Ragnaros fight. God, it's miserable with Time Walking group. Nobody can get the movement right. The suns always get to the hand. Oh, it's a mess. I'll still try it. I'm still going to try and do it because, what else am I going to do with my time? But yeah, that's, this one is not fun. So, Ulduar is fun. Black Temple is fun. This one is miserable. Blizzard, please. Just make it a little bit easier. It would be so cool. Anyway, so that's the bonus event for this week. I'm wondering if we're going to see a Turbulent Timeways again at the end of this season. That would be very interesting because we're also going to be getting player housing patch 11.2.7. So there might be some incentive to get people back into doing actual PvE content instead of just building our houses, but I guess we'll see. Okay, the PvP brawl for this week is South Shore versus Terran Mill. Originally introduced as a part of the World of Warcraft 10-year anniversary event, this brawl harkens back to the early days of WoW PvP with an epic battle between the two towns of Terran Mill and South Shore. In this game of war, you will need to work as a team and deplete your foe's resources to claim victory. Yeah, this one's fun. It was fun back in the day when we did it for no reason other than we just wanted to PvP. But this is a fun one. It helps or hurts to have Death Knights in there that could just grip people into the pack of as people are running around. But yeah, long and the short is it's just the brawl, and this one's fun. When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you'll be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. Other events this week, the Eastern Kingdom Cup is continuing. I didn't mention this last week, but it is going on now through September 9th. The Riders of Azeroth invite Dragon Raiders to compete Compete in races throughout the Eastern Kingdoms. Talk to Lord Androstraz in Valdrakken, Orgrimmar, or Stormwind for more information. So there you go. Eastern Kingdom Cup. I don't know if he's in Dornogal. I think you have to go to the other cities. Anyway. Yeah, it's going now through September 9th. There is new transmog. So if you want the transmog, you got to go do it. It's 100 badges total in transmog. It's a tabard, which is 25, a back piece, which is 15, a head piece, which is 15. And then there are 3 different shoulders, which are 15 each. So you got to do all the races to get the gear, if that's what you want. And I like that Blizzard is giving people incentives to go back and do this. It is weird that we're only getting a cup every few months. I feel like the Dragon Riding Cups could be rolled into the weekly events. And so we just have a different Dragon Riding Cup every 4 or 5 weeks. I think that would be kind of cool, but maybe that would dilute the pool too much. I don't know. Give it a quest, complete 10 Dragon Riding races in the, Eastern Kingdom Cups, and you get a piece of champion gear or something. I don't know. I think that would be cool. All right. And finally, we have the Dark Moon Fair. Meet Silas Darkmoon and his troupe, play games that test mind and nerve, and behold the exotic sights from the 4 corners of Azeroth and beyond. Yeah, that's going to start on September 7th, which is Sunday. So yeah, we'll mention this again in next week's episode, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's coming because it's coming a little late this month because the month started on, today's the first day of the month. So, it's just the way the calendar falls. So yeah, September 7th through the 13th, Dark Moon Fair. The best reason to go to the Dark Moon Fair, what is it, you ask? Well, you can get XP and reputation buffs from riding the merry-go-round or the roller coaster. You can get knowledge points and skill points for your professions by doing the profession quests. That's the biggest reason that I would say to go to the Dark Moon Fair. But honestly, it's just fun. You can go have a good time. And it's not quite like going to the real fair, although you're also not going to get indigestion from going to the Dark Moon Fair. So I guess it's a wash. But yeah, Dark Moon Fair is a great time. I hope you go and have a good time. And yeah, there you go. So that's what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. We're going to move on now to the main topic of the week, World of Warcraft Midnight.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
So yeah, I was out of town when the Gamescom announcement went out, and so I missed all of the fun. I did try and watch it. I did, but the internet was so bad where I was staying, I couldn't. And as we were going through game after game, I just gave up. I said, I can't do this. I'll watch the VODs later, thinking there was going to be a bunch of VODs, but there weren't. So yeah, it's unfortunate that this is how the reveal went. I think players are expecting a lot more from Blizzard as far as an expansion reveal goes. There's a lot more information that they want out of it. What are the systems going to be? What are the changes? We used to get a video and it said, hey, here's what's coming. We're like, cool. And then that was all we needed. Now we need full-on dev interview panels and 20 different interviews from content creators, and some of them not even in English. So I don't even know what half of them say. And that's not to say that, non-English speaking content creators can't interview Blizzard, but most of these Blizzard devs speak English. So, I don't know. Right. So anyway, World of Warcraft Midnight is going to be the 11th expansion of World of Warcraft. It will be the second part of the World Soul Saga following the War Within, and then the saga will conclude with the Last Titan in probably a year and a half or so, or 2 years from now. So Midnight is a interesting looking expansion so far from what I've read, from the videos that I've seen. First of all, if you haven't seen the trailer, go watch the trailer. It's great. A lot of people have kind of dogged on the appearance of Lorthamar and Lady Liadrin. I'll give it to you. It's a little weird looking, but it's a video game trailer, and they probably didn't have as much time to work on this one as they did to work on the War Within trailer. So if you're comparing the two, I would say just don't do that. Just take it for its own merit and go, did I enjoy it? Yes or no? If you did, cool. If you are a huge Lady Liadrin stan and you are upset that she didn't look the way you were expecting, well, it's a bummer. Sorry. Not every cinematic can have epic looking Thrall in it. I'm just saying. So, that's what it is. Here's the little blurb that we've got for World of Warcraft Midnight. It was a last-ditch effort for the heroes of Azeroth to ally with Xal'atath to stop the world-ending threat posed by the powerful Void Lord Demencius the All-Devouring during the events of World of Warcraft: The War Within. But the schemes of the Void's Harbinger left the desperate heroes vulnerable, and now Xal'atath and her forces are ready to take on the Light's mightiest champions and snuff out their most powerful beacon on Azeroth, the Sunwell. The Sunwell. World of Warcraft Midnight is the next installment of the World Soul Saga, where players must return to Quel'Thalas, home of the Blood Elves, to mount a valiant defense. The lush forests of Eversong Forest and the deep jungles of Zulaman, which have been fully rebuilt and reimagined, will serve as the starting backdrop for this epic new chapter. Along the way, players will work to earn the trust of the enigmatic and reclusive Harnir, an ancient people that predate many of Azeroth's oldest races. With allies in tow, both old and new, heroes will need to venture into the chaos of the Voidstorm, where Xal'atath has established a foothold and plots her campaign bent on dominating the world soul of Azeroth. So there you go. Pretty basic stuff. We've got to make allies, and then we're going to go fight the big baddie. And make no mistake, Xal'atath is a baddie. Okay, so I know you're all in love with her, but she's awful. So, and don't forget that body that you're like, ooh, Xal'atath is so hot. That's a corpse. Okay, I'm not trying to burst your bubble here, but that's a corpse. So just keep that in mind. All right, here's some basic information about the expansion that was released or that was revealed to us. The level cap will be 90. Pretty basic stuff. We figured it was going to be level 90, which is nice because then the last Titan will take us to level 100. That'll be a nice round number. And then if we're going to do a reset after that or something, that we can do that, but that's fine. The expansion will release on or before June 30th, 2026. And they have, for legal reasons, they have to put that in there because they're doing pre-orders. I thought it was 6 months, but apparently it's not. It's longer than that. So yeah. I don't think we're going to get the expansion in June. I think it'll be much earlier than that. I'm kind of eyeballing March right now, but I guess we'll see how things go for the next few months. There is a beta opt-in if you want to check out the beta when it launches, which I guess we're expecting it to be within the next month or so. A month or two, rather. So I'll put that link in the show notes. If you want to click on that, you can opt into the beta. Or there's another way to get into the beta. You can pre-purchase the Midnight Epic Edition. It's $89.99, and it will come with beta access. So here are all the pre-purchase options. Let's start at the beginning. First off, the Midnight Base Edition, $49.99 US dollars. I don't know how much that is in Europe or anywhere else, really. I'm an American. All right, sue me. That comes with World of Warcraft Midnight, World of Warcraft: The War Within, a level 80 character boost, housing early access, and 500 traders tenders. It's not bad. So yeah, that's what you're getting. That's just for buying the game pre-order. If you don't pre-order the game, then really the only thing you're missing out on is the housing early access, because everything else you're going to get it when you buy the game. If you wait until the game is released, then you'll still get all that other stuff, but you won't get the housing early access, obviously, because housing will already be live. So the Heroic Edition, which is the $69.99 or the $70 one, we're just going to go with flat numbers. The $70 edition. So this includes everything that's in the base edition, but you get 1,000 tenders instead of 500. And then you get two a mount and a transmog. So you get two things. You get the Light Wing Dragonhawk mount and the Light Strider Raiment transmog set. I've always said that the Heroic Edition is a terrible bargain. It's a bad deal across the board. You don't get the value for it, because really all you're getting for an extra $20 is 500 traders tenders, a mount, and a transmog. That's a rip. So don't get the Heroic Edition. Either get the base edition or get the Epic Edition. The Epic Edition is $90. It includes everything in the Heroic Edition, except that you get 2,000 tenders. You get Midnight Beta Access. And obviously that depends on how many people sign up, and they can't just dump everybody on at once. So you will get it. It just might not be the day it's released. 3 days Midnight Early Access. They're doing the early access again, which we did talk about a few weeks ago, but it is confirmed for sure. 3 days Midnight Early Access, 30 days of game time. And this is why this edition is so much better, because that's a $15 value right there. So for $20 extra, you're getting beta access, early access to the game, and 30 days of game time, plus a bunch of other stuff. So it just makes no sense to do the middle tier. And I think the middle tier only exists to make the top tier sound like it's a really good deal. That's just marketing. You're also going to get 2 pets, Hope Flutter and Doom Feathers. You're going to get the Void Strider raiment, which is the Void version of the transmog sets you get with the Hero Edition. You're going to get the Void Wing Dragonhawk, again, the Void version of the Lightwing Dragonhawk that you get from Hero Edition. And then you're also going to get the Void Wing Dragonhawk, the Void Light Surger, which are both flying mounts. The Light Infused Rotunda, the Void Corrupted Rotunda, the Light Infused Fountain, the Void Corrupted Fountain. These are all decorations for your house. And then you get paintings of Valeria, Terralion, Eretor, and Xalatath, which are also decorations for your house. Now, you will be able to get these things down the road, but you'll have to pay extra for them. So, and Blizzard has not revealed how that will be handled. Maybe it's going to be on the trading post. Maybe it'll be something that's available for purchase after the fact off of the store. We'll see. So anyway, if you want beta access, if that's really important to you, which it is for me, so I will be getting the Epic Edition. In addition to the beta access, you also get the 30 days of game time and the 3 days early access. For me, those 3 things really sell it. And since I have 2 accounts and I have to buy 2, yeah, I'm going to be spending $180 on Midnight. So yeah, but you know what? I work hard. I work hard for the money, so you better treat me right. Or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's, I don't know. That was just, sometimes your brain just says, hey, why don't you say something stupid? And then your mouth goes, okay. And then here it comes. All right, let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business.
The new zones are Eversong Woods, a radiant forest of lyrical enchantment, and in the kingdom of Quel'Thalas. This majestic and awe-inspiring region combines autumnal and spring-like elements, offering a unique blend of vibrant colors and serene beauty. I love the descriptive terms they use here. As you journey through Eversong Woods, you'll encounter the newly rebuilt Silver Moon City, a testament to the resilience and grandeur of the Blood Elves, uncover the heart of Xalatath's schemes, and seek out new allies among the light and shadows alike. So Eversong Woods is going to be rebuilt. It's not clear what's going to happen to the old Eversong Woods, if that will just go away, or if there's going to be a time walking component where you can talk to Zadormi and be like, hey, I'd rather level up in the old Eversong Woods because this one sucks. So yeah, that's the new thing. And instead of the Ghostlands, we're going to get Zul'Aman, the Amani troll capital of Zul'Aman. This temperate rainforest is fiercely protected from outsiders by the forest tribes who call it home. Savage wildlife, airy mountain peaks, and mist-shrouded ruins adorn these ancient, rain-beaten lands. At its center is Atalaman, the setting of the original raid against Warlord Zul'jin, fully rebuilt and modernized from the ground up. Journeying until Zul'Aman will reveal the grandeur of its locales, as well as the culture of the Amani trolls and their sibling forest tribes. Players will be thrust into the heart of the conflict between trolls and elves, entreat with Zuljara, the new leader of the Amani, and uncover a decades-old mystery involving the disappearance of their once revered Loa gods. So yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. Troll stuff is always fun in WoW. As a non-horde player, I always love going and beating up trolls, so that's always fun for me. Right, the next one is Harandar. This bioluminescent primordial jungle sits at the confluence of the world tree's great roots. As you journey through Harandar, you'll encounter the enigmatic Haranir, which we've already met Orwena, but that's basically what, yeah. Prove yourself to gain their trust and unlock them as a new allied race. Yeah. The zone is filled with challenges and mysteries as you work to uncover the secrets of the Haranir and their connection to their enigmatic goddess. Yeah, I'm wondering if we're gonna get some loon action going here, or what the deal is here. But yeah, so the Haranir zone, not really sure how we're gonna get to it. Although it is interesting to know that it sits at the confluence of all of the world tree's roots. So I'm sure there's gonna be nobody trying to attack that, right? Right. And finally, Voidstorm, a zone so chaotic and violent it is drenched in void. This mysterious world is filled with deep gorges and towering nexus points, devouring the void energy of the land. As you journey through Voidstorm, you'll fight your way through the Voidscar Arena and Nexus Point Zenus dungeons. Alongside the Void Elves, you will work to uncover secrets of the void and thwart the machinations of Xalatath. So there you go. Those are the 4 new zones. I'm assuming we're going to go through them in sequence. So Eversong, then Zul'Aman, then Harandar, then Voidstorm, kind of like we did in The War Within. I think the idea of having all the zones be equal and you can just choose which one you want to go to is a good idea, but it doesn't really work in telling a story. So in this case, telling a story, it makes sense to have them sequential. So those are your new zones. All right, let's talk about classes. So the big news, obviously, for classes is the new Demon Hunter specialization, Devourer. So everybody speculated there was going to be okay, so I saw 2 different speculations. Either 1, there's going to be a new Demon Hunter specialization, or 2, there's going to be a new race option for Demon Hunters. Well, guess what, kids? We got both. New Demon Hunter specialization, Devourer. The new hero talent that they're going to include is Annihilator. So, and I'll get into that in a second. And then the new race option is the Void Elves can now become Demon Hunters, which, come on, why didn't we have that from the beginning? There are already Blood Elves. You're telling me there were not a single one of them was also a demon. Anyway, so here's how the Demon Hunters are currently set up. So Havoc and Vengeance are the 2 specs, and they split Felsguard and Eldraki Reaver between the 2. So, and that's fine. What we're going to change, though, is that, so Havoc will still be the same, Scarred and Eldraki Reaver. Felsguard is going to be renamed to just Scarred, because the Devourers do not use Fel magic. So just Scarred for the hero talent. Vengeance will get Eldraki Reaver and the new Annihilator hero talent. And then Devourer will be Annihilator and Scarred. So no Eldraki Reaver for the Devourer spec. And I guess because it's a mid-range caster spec, and it's going to be using intellect on Warclaves, which is kind of weird, or swords. I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. We didn't get a ton of information about the class and how it's going to work. We do know that it's going to be an intellect-based class. So does that mean it's going to have a mana pool like everyone else? I don't know. And then you can play it one of 2 ways. You can play it as a full mid-range caster, or you can do kind of zipping in and out of melee. I'm sure that will go away over time as players don't like that sort of thing, generally speaking. So, and I'm hoping that it has some empowered spells like the Evoker has. To the longer you hold the button, the more damage it does, or more direct damage and less dot or something like that. So that's the new classes. And then the Void Elves being Demon Hunters. I always wanted to make a Void Elf Demon Hunter because I like the Blood Elves. I think the Blood Elves are cool, but I don't want to play Horde. So since we have Void Elves, I mean, my monk is a Void Elf monk, and he's one of my favorite characters that I love to abuse because he's a healer. So, so I will be making a Void Elf Demon Hunter for the new Devourer spec. I think that works perfectly. And he'll probably be, I don't know, he'll have an attitude or something. It's a Demon Hunter thing. So there you go. That's the new specialization. The new allied race, as we mentioned earlier, is the Haranier. So, obviously that was the big speculation in the War Within. Is like, oh my gosh, are we going to get these guys as a playable race? They seem like they have all the models and they have all the things that would indicate that they're going to be a playable race. And yes, the answer is yes, we are. In Midnight, we're going to have to go and, just like we did with Earthen, we're going to go earn their trust. We're going to have to do the storyline. And when we do the storyline, then I'm sure we're going to have to do a couple of other things. And then we'll unlock Haranier as an allied race. It says Haranier are an enigmatic and reclusive people who dwell in the bioluminescent primordial jungle of Harandar. Their culture is shaped by the deep places of the world, with homes and tools crafted from roots, glowing mushrooms, and living bark and stone. The Haranier's unique connection to the earth is reflected in their use of bioluminescence, which illuminates their armor, weapons, and skin markings with soft, eerie glow. That sounds kind of cool. The available classes for the Haranier, this is going to be rough. Available classes for the Haranier are Druid, Hunter, Mage, Monk, Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior. I'm so glad they included Shaman in there because I will be making a Haranier Shaman like as soon as I can. Because I love playing a Shaman, but I hate playing a Draenei, and I refuse to play a Dwarf. So my options are kind of limited. I guess I could play a Kultiran, but I would rather, if I was going to play a Kultiran, I'd rather play a Warrior, honestly. Or a Rogue and just have like a big old dude with daggers and trying to sneak around. That would be kind of fun. Anyway, so the Haranier is a new allied race. And I'm down with this, and I'm hoping that we'll get something new introduced in this expansion that will be a new allied race for the Last Titan. Maybe the Sethrak. Snake of Vol'dun. We should get Snake of Vol'dun on the show to talk about the possibility of Sethrak allied race. All right, I'm going to make a note. Talk to the Snake of Vol'dun. Okay. All right. Here's the deal with the raids. So Blizzard has thrown a curveball to all the Race to World First guilds. There will be 3 raids on launch, or there will be 3 raids in Season 1. 2 of the raids will be available at the beginning of the season, and then 1 will be available a few weeks later. They're not really clear on the timing of everything, but this is what we understand. So the 3 raids are Voidspire, which is a 6-boss raid, ascending a towering structure filled with formidable foes and cosmic horrors, including a showdown with Dominus Lord Aversion and Saladar in this 6-boss raid. Okay, so we're going to have to fight Saladar again. Great. Then we have the Dream Rift, which is a 1-boss raid. Step into the permeable veil between primordial dreams and brutal reality in this single boss raid encounter. Join the Shulka in their hunt of an undreamt god that never should have been, and put down half-birthed abominations that lash out against existence itself. I mean, can you be more vague with so many words? Yes, this is just a 1-boss raid. Think like a Nixi's Lair or Obsidian Sanctum or something like that. And then finally, March on Quel'Danas. This is a 2-boss raid. The story reaches a thrilling climax as the united armies of the Elven tribes march on the iconic Sunwell Plateau. So this is the one that they're saying is going to release a few weeks later. And again, we don't have specifics yet. We just know that it's not going to be released when the other 2 raids are released. So how does this affect the Race to World First? Well, we were talking about this in the Azeroth United Discord. You can join the Azeroth United Discord by going to AzerothUnitedPod.com. But the question was, does it even matter for the Race to World First? Should Blizzard even care? The last time Blizzard released raids, where multiple raids at the beginning of an expansion when they all released at the same time, was Cataclysm. Because in Miss Pandaria, as you recall, we just talked about this a couple weeks ago, the raids were staggered. So we didn't get all the raids at once. And there was no Race to World First back then, so yeah, it's a little different. A little different time. I'm sure it's going to get figured out by the guilds who participate in the Race to World First, but regardless, this is something new and interesting that Blizzard is foisting upon the raid team, so we'll see how it goes. For dungeons and delves, it's going to be more of the same. 8 new dungeons, 10 new delves, plus the new Nemesis delve. For the dungeons, and we'll go through it. Windrunner Spire. Discover the buried history of the Windrunner sisters. We've already seen the devs spoiling that Sylvanas is coming back. So we don't know if it's just going to be in this dungeon or if there's going to be more. But yeah. Magister's Terrace. A desperate mission to unleash ancient magic against the void. So I'm not sure if this is going to be like a reimagined Magister's Terrace. The last one had a bunch of demons in it, so we'll see. Murderer Row. Blood elves are smuggling fell relics and demons left over from the Burning Crusade. There you go. Den of Nalarak. The Harmoni's Bear Loa challenges us to tests before he'll join us against the void. Okay, that's fair. Mysara Caverns. Save the Witherbark, who have been abducted by the Vile Branch. Troll on troll crime is a horrible thing. Blinding Veil. The Daunt Well is accelerating the unnatural growth of creatures and plants. Stop them before they threaten Silvermoon. Okay. Voidscar Arena. Battle for the amusement of a powerful void entity who has gathered dangerous creatures from across the universe. And finally, Nexus Point Zenus. Fight through a void storm fortress. Tension between our allies escalates. This is the beginning of the climax of the story. So there you go. A little bit more story in the dungeons, which I think is cool. I like that they did some story in the dungeons in the War Within. I like that dungeons. You have both. You have kind of the one-offs. It's like if you're watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and sometimes you'd have a war, Dominion War episode, and sometimes you have a one-off episode where they go back in time for triples or whatever. The Delves, I'm not going to list out all the Delves because we really don't have a whole lot of information about them. But there's 10 plus the Nemesis Delve, so 11, I guess then. But we do know who our new companion is going to be for World of Warcraft Midnight. So instead of Bran Bronzebeard, which we've had for the entirety of the War Within, we're going to get Valeera Sanguinar. And I know some of you right now are going, who? Valeera Sanguinar is a blood elf who was a gladiator with King Varian Wrynn during the time where he was missing. If you recall, playing in vanilla World of Warcraft when Anduin was the Boy King and Bolvar Fordragon was on the throne with Onyxia and blah, blah, blah. Basically what it boils down to is Valeera Sanguinar was loyal to the House of Wrynn, not to the Alliance and not to the Horde. So she was actually a spy who served Varian, and then after Legion, she was with the during Legion, she was with the Uncrowned in Dalaran, and then she became a spy master for Anduin during the Battle for Azeroth time. Anyway, so she is going to be with us in our Delves, which this one's kind of weird. So Bran made some sense because he's part of the Explorers League, and we're delving into this. This is just, hey, we're going to take a rogue with us. It feels a little odd. I mean, I understand let's have a neutral dwarf and then we'll have a neutral blood elf, but is she really neutral? Just like, is Bran really neutral? I don't know. I feel like the Horde are getting the short end of the stick here. Anyway, yeah, and same thing with Delves. We'll get multiple stories. We don't know who the Nemesis is going to be, but I'm sure it'll be something interesting. And there you go. Delves are going to be a big deal. Now, Blizzard hasn't given us any information on things like endgame item upgrades, Great Fault, any of that stuff. So we're just going to assume and act like as it's going to be the same as it was in the War Within. So, but as that information gets updated, we'll revisit it. As far as PvP goes, there's two things that I want to mention here. There's a new battleground, which is Slayer's Rise. Engage in epic 40 versus 40 battles in the new Slayer's Rise battleground set in the Void Storm. Cool. This battleground features a push-pull dynamic along the path of predation, with side objectives to keep the action moving. All right, whatever that means, that's fine. Players will need to strategize and work together to conquer bases and ultimately defeat the rival faction's Dominar, making Slayer's Rise a thrilling and strategic addition to the PvP experience. It sounds kind of like a hyped-up version of Alterac Valley, I guess. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But hey, a new epic battleground. I'm good with that. I do like the epic battlegrounds. I don't like the small ones because I'm bad at PvP. So the epic ones I can kind of hide a little bit better. But yeah, this one, it sounds like it might be kind of fun. So we'll see. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I do the PvP brawl every week where I tell you, here's the PvP brawl for the week. Pick up the quest, something different, get from, honor, conquest, and marks of honor. Comp Stomp, which is one of the PvP brawl modes that a lot of people just really like, is going to be a permanent game mode now. So you're gonna be able to do Comp Stomp whenever you want. And they're adding in new battlegrounds. So instead of just being Arathi Basin, it might be, I can't think of any battleground names right now. Warsong Gulch. It might be Silver Shard Mine. So I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Comp Stomp is now permanent, which I think is cool. I'm glad that Blizzard are adding new game modes to PvP to try and make it more interesting. It's unfortunate that they can't actually make PvP itself interesting. But yeah, let's throw in some new game modes, see if we can get some participation numbers up there for PvP. So more to come on that, I'm sure. So we will update that as needed as well. All right, let's talk about the story for Midnight. If you watch the cinematic, you remember that Liadrin goes to the Sunwell and she prays and she's like, hey, I know I'm not worthy, but my people need help. And if you help us now, then, we'll be your slaves forever or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Regardless, she asked for help and the light answered and they brought the army of the lights. Now, this was not clear during the cinematic and it's been muddily cleared up by Maria Hamilton, where she said it's the armies of the light. Now, if you say the armies of the light, that sounds a lot like multiple armies of the lights. So is it the army of the light plus the Howl of Fall Arathi plus Somebody else? What are we talking about here? Plus, all the player characters. Turns out, yeah, a little bit of everything. So here's a couple of things that that were sort of answered in a interview. When the light answered Liadrin's prayer, a call went out to many, many people. We saw the army of the light respond, but it has also been heard by players and many others, including some creatures you might not expect. There's at least one in particular, which is pretty baffled to be there and doesn't quite know what happened, but it's still there. The cinematic was meant to show just the first people coming through, but when players arrive at the start of the expansion, the very first thing they'll do is appear in the light and join that battle. Now, how cool is that? We're just going to jump into the middle of the cinematic. There will be a lot of heroes and faces that you recognize, a huge fight going on with people to save and different places to see. Now, when Blizzard does these cinematics and people go, how come it's not doing X, Y, and Z? People need to be patient. Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. Some of y'all need to just be patient, chill, let them cook. And then after it's done, you can go, you know what? I didn't like that as well as I thought I would. Okay, that's fine. But let them cook. Okay, please. Just let Blizzard do their thing. And then we can judge it on its own merit after the fact. All right, cool. All right. There's a little bit of talk about uniting the Elven tribes. We saw this at the first announcement of the World Soul Saga back 2 years ago. And there's been a few mentions of it, even in the March on Quel'Danis, where it says the story reaches a thrilling climax as the united armies of the Elven tribes march on the iconic Sunwell Plateau. So, what does that mean? Well, we're still not sure. This says here, there are many years of trauma between the various Elven tribes, so bringing them together isn't something that will be easily solved. But Azeroth is facing a common threat, so those groups need to talk again. All right, yes, that's true. A lot of players don't even know the lore, such as why the Blood Elves were banished, so this will be an opportunity to educate those folks about that part of the story and reveal them coming together. Yeah, that's fine. Quoted from this interview with, it doesn't say who it was, it's unclear whether Maria Hamilton meant to refer to the Void Elves being kicked out of Silvermoon, or the original banishment of the High Elves, who would centuries later become Blood Elves. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. They're trying to clear things up, and they're not. And that's okay. If this is just, hey, we're going to bring the Void Elves and the Blood Elves back together, fine. That's fine. But if this is all Elven tribes, I mean, we're talking like the Night Elves and the Nightborn, and, even the Haranir, I think that would be pretty cool. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about a third faction for many years, and a third elf faction, while it would be really cool, would be terrible from a gameplay standpoint. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but we do know there is going to be some sort of uniting of the elf tribes. So more to be seen on that as we find out more about the expansion. But for now, this is what we have. And like I said, this is what I was talking about with the information is not being revealed in a way that is really conducive to what WoW players are looking for these days. WoW players want information, like a lot of information. And this isn't 2008 where you can just be like, hey, here's this cool thing that's coming. Everyone goes, yay, more World of Warcraft. No, you've got to spell everything out, or don't say anything. Just be like, hey, something's coming. Hope you guys like it. And that's it. That's all you get. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. On the subject of Silvermoon City, so they had to rebuild the city from scratch because you have to. It's city itself is old. It's one of the oldest assets in the game. The original Silvermoon City is from the Burning Crusade, which means that it's probably nearing 20 years old. Even all of the old world zones were redone in Cataclysm. So Silvermoon is one of the oldest zones in the game. So it needs an update. I hope that we also get an update for Exodar, but we'll see. It says, on the art side, capturing the uniqueness and identity of Silvermoon was a major challenge. Creating a character in Eversong Woods and making that trip to Silvermoon was one of the first gameplay experiences for many players. That's very true. And it's iconic. So it was important that the city still feel familiar. They've strived to keep iconic elements while adding more on top. Okay, so it's like if they redid Ironforge and you were like, well, they changed that really cool reveal of going up the little hill there to the top of Ironforge and it doesn't look as cool anymore. I get it. You have to nail that aspect of it. It has to feel like Silvermoon. You can't just be like, oh, here's a Blood Elf building. You're good. if you think about the transition from the original Orgrimmar to the new Orgrimmar that we got in Cataclysm, they feel like very different cities. So if you look at the original map, a whole half of it was destroyed, kind of like the second Death Star. In the new version of the city, that part becomes an alliance-friendly section. The original footprint and volume still remain. So what they're going to do is they're going to rebuild the destroyed section, the one that was destroyed during the scourging of Silvermoon when Arthas came through with the scourge and wiped out all the high elves, turning them into the blood elves, blah, blah, blah. So that part of the city is going to be rebuilt, and that's where the capital is going to be. The rest of Silvermoon is going to be Horde only. So yeah, there's going to be a small portion that is alliance friendly. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but I guess we'll see. The main goal is making it a more pathable city, easier to get around. Now that these areas have become folded into the Eastern Kingdoms and players can fly in them, that has also become a big part of the design. Yeah, as soon as you introduce flying into Silvermoon, it opens up a whole host of issues. You have to rebuild it from the scratch, because that city was not built with flying in mind, which means probably a lot of the buildings don't have proper roofs or ceilings, or they just have like a plain texture up top. Yeah, you've got to do a lot of work to clean that up. So Silvermoon is going to be the city that the Blood Elves have always wanted and deserved. Yes, of course. It's going to have a lot of content and culture with many interesting places to explore. So there you go. That's what's coming for Silvermoon. Now, like I said, Exodar revamp would be cool, but this is not the Exodar expansion. This is the Silvermoon expansion. So, I mean, if we're going fair, then sure. But if we're just going, this is what we're getting for the expansion, I get it. It's fine. So, but I am excited that they are making part of it alliance friendly while still maintaining the main part of Silvermoon as a Horde only city. I think that's cool. So, and I know that a lot of RPers are going to be upset about this because Silvermoon was one of the classic RP settings. And now that there's going to be crowded for the entire expansion, people are going to be bummed about that. But hey, I go back to Gilneas, all right. The only other thing that I wanted to mention as far as the story goes, they said there's going to be a lot of classic zones that the team would like to tell stories in. So they believe more zones will be reworked in the future, Exodar included, hopefully. But even any other zones, especially some of the old world zones, yeah, it'd be great to get some reworks in there. So we'll see where that goes. And that doesn't sound like that's going to be something that they're doing for Midnight. It sounds like it's something that they're planning for the future. And we'll get to that in a little bit because we do have a article where they talk about that. All right, as far as new systems go, we've already talked about housing a bunch, and there's not a whole lot of new information that has been revealed with this, except that we know that housing early access will start in patch 11.2.7, probably. What that means is we're about a month away from patch 11.2.5, which means we're about 3 months away from player housing. So if you're really excited about player housing, just know that it's going to be here just in time for Christmas. That's right. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy Christmas, whatever you say. Here's your player housing. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, that's fine. Happy Feast of Winter Veil. Here's your player housing. So there you go. And that's all that I wanted to say about player housing, because right now, like I said, it's all the same information that we've already had, talking about the neighborhoods and the housing. They did give us a little bit of detail on some of the maps and things, but I'm going to wait until there's a little bit more information before we dive back into player housing, because there's a lot of talking about how the game is going to work. And I don't like to talk about game playing systems necessarily, because describing somebody playing a video game has to be one of the worst things on the planet to try and do, or to try and listen to, honestly. So I don't like doing that. All right. The other new system that is coming in Midnight is the Prey system. Now, this one also was not given a whole lot of information, but what we do know is that this is going to be an optional system, and they're planning to be evergreen. So this is a new system they're introducing here that is going to last forever, theoretically. And it's designed to give you a challenge in the open world. So what you do is you can select a difficulty, and then you get somebody that you have to go hunt, some monster, some creature, whatever it is. And you go hunt them, but they also hunt you. And so you could be doing a quest and then there's your guy. He's getting ready to attack you. Or vice versa. You see him there and you got to go attack him. And then it's going to culminate into a big final battle. So I'm assuming he's going to run away, or this monster will run away, or however it's going to work. Regardless, it sounds like a really cool system. Somebody did mention that there might be like an Eye of the Jailer type, you're in this much danger type thing to kind of keep you on your toes, which I think would be really cool. And it, like I said, it's an optional system. There's no gear from this. It's all transmog, but it sounds like the harder you go, or the higher you go, the harder it gets. And so if you get the really good transmog, it's because you're a really good hunter at killing these monsters or whatever. So the new prey system looks really cool, and I hope that it's one of these systems that actually stays in the game for a while and not a yeah, it's gone now. So yeah, looking at you reforging. Right. As far as existing systems changes and some UI changes. So let's talk about transmog. At one point, I think I mentioned that somebody was like, oh, transmog is going to be free. That is not true. Transmog will not be free. What they're going to do is the whole thing is going to be revamped in how we approach transmog. So instead of transmogging a piece of gear, an armor, we're going to transmog a slot. So you say, my shoulders, I want them to look like this. And so if you change out 20 different shoulders through gear upgrades, doesn't matter. That will always look like whatever you've transmogged them as. You can save your outfits, and then you'll be able to give your outfits designations to say, like, for example, hey, when I go into my house, I want my transmog to change to my housing outfit. When I am, in the capital city, and this is something that people have always wanted, and there's add-ons that do this, but Blizzard is building it into the transmog system now. So it'll actually transmog your gear correctly to put on your, like, if you're out fighting and you're like, hey, when I go into my house, I want to put on my robes so that it can be nice and comfy. Or if you're, say you got your Kultiran and you're like, when I go into my house, bro is going to be butt-ass nude, just down to his skivvies. You can do that. You can set that up so that every time you go into whatever particular zone, you can automatically put on your transmog. And since things are saved to slots, especially when you're leveling up, you're not going to get the clown gear as you go through and, oh, I got a new piece of gear. Now I look ridiculous. Now I've got to get on my yak. Or if you don't have a yak, now you've got to go back to a city, and it's a hassle. So this is really cool. Transmog will not be free. We will still have to pay for it. So if you are in the habit of changing your transmog every 5 minutes, you're still going to pay for that. But you won't have to pay every time you update a piece of gear to retransmog it to the correct appearance, because your slot is the one that has the appearance saved to it. So I think that's a really good change. We'll get to know more about this one as well, because this is a big system that Blizzard knows people really care about. So they really want to get it right. So, and again, with no add-ons. So the whole thing, right? If you've got better wardrobe, or like in Classic, I use item rack. There's different things that you can use. Blizzard wants to get rid of all that and build it all into the system itself, which I think is fantastic. So well done, Blizzard. This is the true end game, and everyone knows it. So good job. Speaking of getting rid of add-ons, so Blizzard has confirmed that they are adding in 3 add-on replacements directly into the game. You have damage meters, enemy nameplates, and boss timers. So basically, we're going to get rid of details, plater, and deadly boss mods all in one shot, which is fantastic, because I hate deadly boss mods. I hate details. Platers, I think Plater is going to be tough for them to get it right, but we'll see. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this. But what they've said is, for the damage meter, you can have multiple panels that show damage, healing, etc. But a lot of it is to be determined. For the nameplates, you can choose from different presets. You can have like the original, classic, whatever the default nameplates are. You can do the big modern, like plater or threat plates or anything like that. And then there's going to be an indicator when mob goes behind you, which is really cool. And as far as the boss timers go, so it sounds like they're going to kind of go with the timeline method of keeping track of stuff, so you can kind of see what's coming, what's closest to you, and whatnot. So I think that's really cool. I'm glad to see that Blizzard is following through on this. I know a lot of people were talking about the war on add-ons, but it sounds like Blizzard is really just, they're going to slowly work through all of this, and I think it's great. Another thing that was confirmed, and this was in the fireside chat with Mr. GM and in Hazakostas, we did get confirmation that there will be a stat squish for both items and damage. So we're going to lower everything down. Item levels will go down into the hundreds. We're not going to get item levels of 1,000. Don't worry. Player damage numbers will be reduced down to the hundreds or thousands. So this is going to be like, classic or TBC type numbers. And this is going to take place in the midnight pre-patch. So whenever that is, probably sometime early next year, maybe February or so, we will get the stat squish. We're not going to get a level squish. I would suspect that we will probably get another level squish after the last Titan. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, excuse me. That's what's coming in terms of the system updates. There was one other thing that got thrown out here, and I don't know where else to put it, so I'm just going to put it at the end here. They did say that Plunderstorm is not intended to come back anytime soon. Said Plunderstorm 1 and 2 were limited time offers, and the team is listening to player feedback, but doesn't have any plans to go back for a third time at the moment. So if you were looking for some Plunderstorm news, unfortunately, it sounds like we're not getting Plunderstorm, at least not anytime soon. So maybe something else will take its place. I think that would be cool, but no Plunderstorm. So there you have it. That's pretty much everything that was revealed at the Gamescom and through the dev interviews that have been taking place over the last few weeks or the last few days. Sorry, there is one other thing that I wanted to mention, and this is a very small one because we don't have any other information on it, but they are changing Vigor in Dragon Riding. They're actually removing Vigor as a resource, and you're just going to have cooldowns on your Surge and I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head because I didn't write it down, but basically your main Dragon Riding abilities, you're going to have cooldown on them. You'll have 6 charges, and it'll be shared between the two. Don't know how that's going to work. We don't know anything other than this is what they're planning to do, so keep an eye on that. It should theoretically make Dragon Riding or Sky Riding easier, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So just something else to keep in mind. And that's it. That's going to finish off the entirety of the Gamescom World of Warcraft Midnight announcements. It's a lot of information. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm really hoping that Blizzard can pull this off because, if this one doesn't work right, then it's going to be really tough for them to be successful with The Last Titan. So this one really needs to kind of bridge the two together. The War Within was a great expansion, or it's been a great expansion. It's still going on. But it wasn't perfect. It had its flaws. So we'll get some more specifics in the next few weeks, hopefully, on some of these systems that are changing, what the dungeons are going to look like, what Mythic Plus is going to look like, how the 3 raids are going to work, all of that stuff. Hopefully we'll have some more details to discuss, but yeah, that's everything that we've got. And yeah, there you go. And that's going to wrap up our show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. If you are enjoying the show and you would like to maybe help us out a little bit, there's a couple of different ways you could do that. You could consider giving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Those really help out the distribution. And yeah, I mean, if you could just put a rating in there, 5 stars would be great, but vote with your heart. Tell me what you think I deserve. And if you put in a review or a Spotify comment, I can read it on the air. So there was somebody who made a comment on Spotify last week, basically just complaining of some sound issues. So I've worked on that, and so hopefully we won't have that going forward. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can help us out by giving us a like and a subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment, that also really helps out with the engagement. So those are all the ways you can help us out if you're just, whatever your podcast app is or YouTube. If you are looking to do more, you could consider joining our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Azeroth United. Patreon is where people can donate their IRL money to help out with the production of the show. We have 3 different tiers of patrons. We've got a free tier, and then we've got 2 different paid tier options. Our top tier, which is our friend of the show patrons, are Judge Omni, Stug Life, Thelial, and Greybeard. Thank you all so much. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. And then our free tier, we have 2 new free members that we wanted to mention. We have Sean and we have Dave G. I wonder who that could be. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate it. And yeah, it's like I said, these are the people that help support Azeroth United. And I've always said this, and I still believe it, that engagement is the best support you can get. So if you're engaging with me in some capacity, email, Twitter, Patreon, YouTube comments, Spotify comments, whatever it is, that means so much to me. But I also do appreciate the people who are interested in and willing to give their money to help out with the show, because it does cost money to produce the show. So, and I got 2 epic editions of Midnight to buy. So, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. No, it's fine. I appreciate it. I really do. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Denethar. You can also reach me on Blue Sky. I'm at Denethar there as well, but I don't check that one as often. So, yeah, either way is fine, but primarily Twitter. And I think that's it. So, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of information to go through, and if I missed anything, please tell me. You can post it on the Discord. You can join the Discord by going to AzerothUnitedPod.com and jump on there. Like I said, we've had a bunch of different conversations going on, from Race to World First to how people are handling the boss, the Dimensius fight, or the Mythic Plus. I mean, we're just having a good time over there. So jump on over. We were talking about the Turtle WoW thing earlier, which is, man, I can't wait to see what happens there. It's a little weird, but anyway, thank you again. Remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real life person on the other side of the keyboard, and maybe they play it on a private server, and you don't need to judge them. You can just smile and go do whatever. Have fun. Run a dungeon. Go do a raid. I don't care. It's we could just be nice. Just be nice and smile and just nod and just be a good person. That's all it is. Just be a good person. All right. Take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.